Welcome to Masters of Trial Law, Corboy and Demetrio's video podcast focusing on legal issues prevalent in the world today. Today is a unique episode, a unique opportunity to sit down with my mentor, Thomas Demetrio, co-founder of the firm of Corboy and Demetrio. Welcome, Tom.
Hey, Bill.
This firm has been a pillar in the Chicago legal community for decades. And there is so much about the history of this firm that really speaks to what it is today. And I thought of no better person to inform me and our audience of the history of this law firm than its co-founder, Tom Demetrio. So with that, I'm just going to throw a softball up and say, can you hit it out of the park and tell us about the history of Corboy and Demetrio?
I don't know if I'll hit it out of the park, but I'll take a stab at it. The history is colorful. Phil Corboy was born in 1924, and he was raised in Rogers Park. He went to St. George High School. He graduated from high school. He entered the Army, served in the Army, and then with the GI Bill of Rights, he attended college. He attended actually 3 different colleges. I think St. Ambrose, Baylor in Texas.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Baylor's in Texas, right?
Waco.
Yeah. And Notre Dame for a semester. He didn't graduate from college. And in the late 40s, you didn't need to graduate from a college to attend law school. And he entered Loyola University Law School. He was graduated in 1949, number 1 in his class. And he went to work for the city of Chicago in the Corporation Counsel's office. And that was short-lived because he bumped into a guy named James A. Dooley, who at the time was the leading plaintiff's lawyer, if you will, in the world of personal injury, which was new, really, to the world of lawyers in the late 40s. And Mr. Dooley and Corboy always referred to him, even later in life, as Mr. Dooley.
What was their age separation? Would Dooley have been 10 years older, 20 years older?
He would have been more than 10 years older, yeah. And he, Corboy, absorbed, that's where he learned that osmosis works. Everything Dooley had learned in his career, Phil absorbed, and left Dooley less than 2 years, really, with being with him. And in 1952, he opened up a law firm called Philip H. Corboy and Associates. There were no associates. It was just Phil Corboy. And he opened up his office at 1 North LaSalle Street. He had 1 employee, his investigator, a gentleman by the name of Jack Hayes, and a secretary, Martha Fukami. And Jack Hayes was Phil's only employee for many, many, many years. Phil did everything by himself. And the way he established his practice was that he took everything that came in through the door. His view was the more cases he had, that means the more judges he's going to meet, the more doctors he's going to meet, the more policemen he's going to meet,
sure,
etc., thus networking himself throughout the community. Phil's personality was powerful. You knew it when you met Phil Corboy, and you knew it when he walked into a room. He was he was cordial, congenial, powerful, and yet not a giant of a man. He wasn't diminutive,
right?
But he was a normal, guy, good looking, and he one day said to Jack Hayes, "Why don't you go to law school and become a lawyer?" And Jack Hayes did, and he became Phil's very first lawyer.
So this is late 50s, maybe?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And during the 50s is when plaintiffs' personal injury trial lawyers really blossomed. Throughout the state, and also throughout the country. You had Corboy in Chicago. You had Nat Osmond in Chicago. You had Leonard Ring in Chicago. You had some giants, but also throughout the country, Corboy networked himself with the best of the best. The Fuchsberg brothers in New York, Bruce Walkup in San Francisco, Bill Colson and Bill Hicks, partners down in Coral Gables, Florida.
All legends, yeah.
All legends.
Yep.
And what they would do, this is even before ATLA, now it's called, what is it called now?
AAJ.
Was born. They would go around like in a caravan and teach trial advocacy across the country to young lawyers. And they made a name for themselves.
I'd say so.
So now Corboy has his very first lawyer. And his very first lawyer, Jack Hayes, tried his first 7 cases and lost every one of them. And one of the reasons is because of Corboy's method of accepting everything. Jack got all the cases that shouldn't have been won, and
unwinnable,
and tried them. But that's okay, because with every case, Phil's thinking, with every case you try, you that's another opening statement you've given,
sure,
another jury you've picked, etc.
Developing the skills of a trial lawyer. And
Jack Hayes became eventually trial lawyer extraordinaire, and he left Phil, and he started his own practice, and it was a very vital practice. He took in as a partner my pal, your pal, Joe Power, and taught Joe Power how to be the super duper trial lawyer that he is.
Yep.
And that was the nature of Phil's practice. What he would do is hire lawyers with promise. He would train them. He would give them cases to try. They would try them. They were, for the most part, successful. And then they would leave. They would leave Phil Corboy and start their own practice. And that's what I basically was going to do.
So tell us how it came to be that you met Corboy.
Well, I met Corboy. He wouldn't have remembered this at all. My father owned a restaurant in Chicago that was in the building Corboy officed in, 1 north of South Street. And it was a restaurant where it was almost clubby-ish. Lawyers and judges were the primary customers. Mm-hmm. And it was very popular. And one night, I was having dinner with 2 of my classmates. We had an equity final exam the next day. And I asked we came in, the 3 of us came in and had dinner. My dad sat with us and he said, now you guys should go home and get a good night's sleep. And I said, no, Dad, we're going to go up to your office and we're going to study all night. We need to study all night. And with that, Phil Corboy comes waltzing through. And my dad stops him. Phil, here's the situation. These 3 guys, I didn't really officially meet him.
Right.
Have an equity exam tomorrow. I'm telling them they need to go to bed. They're saying stay up. They're going to stay up all night and study. What do you think? He looked at the 3 of us and said, stay up. And he's gone. So that's the first time I sort of met him. But the important time I met him was I had in law school clerked for a judge, a circuit court judge, Judge James Geroulis. He was the most active trial judge in the courthouse and a prince of a man. And for 2 credit hours, I only was supposed to be with him 2 hours a week.
Right.
Well, I got addicted to what it was he does, or did, and I was there 30 hours a week. I fell in love with trial work.
Yeah.
And I watched great trial lawyers and some not so great trial lawyers.
Right.
And he said to me, he said, after you're done with your bar exam, he said, come see me. We'll try to figure out where you're going to go. I said, okay, Your Honor. And so I took the Illinois bar, and I waited 2 months, and then I took the Florida bar. I thought if I ever moved, it'd be to Florida. So
yeah.
I took the Florida bar, and I then one day got up and said, I guess I have to pound the pavement here. So I walked in. He didn't know I was coming to Judge Geroulis' courtroom, and there was a trial going on. And Corboy was the plaintiff's lawyer.
Oh, wow.
And Judge Geroulis sees me, and he just jumps up. Phil, there's the young man I was telling you about. And Corboy comes over to me and says, do you want a job?
Wow.
I said, sure. He said, go to my office. I'll see you in 20 minutes. And he came over to his office in 20 minutes and offered me a job.
Wow. The rest is history.
Yeah. So Corboy, was relying on the judgment of Judge Geroulis.
Yeah.
So, thankfully.
That is a great story. That is a great story.
Yeah. Not one resume. I didn't have to fill out one.
How'd you do on that equity exam?
I think I probably barely got a C. I was tired.
You got through it.
I was tired. I started with Phil in November of 1973 when I became a lawyer. He was my first
So you're just
employer.
You're 4 years out of Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I had to after Notre Dame. I graduated in 1969. I had to go in the Army, and I served for 6 years in the Army Reserves and Artillery Unit out at O'Hare Field, and I had to go to basic training, and so I lost a year, if you will, and then I went the following fall to law school.
Got it.
So
Got it.
I graduated in 73 instead of 72.
Got it.
But I don't regret serving my country at all.
No.
I'm thankful, to be honest, that I didn't have to go to Vietnam, but I could have because we were in an artillery unit, and
Those were scary days.
they were.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started with him in 73. I had a very good 10-year run with him, and I decided it was time to go. And he came to me and he said, I don't know why all these years I have been training really good lawyers like yourself and letting them go out in the world and compete against me. He said, that doesn't make any sense.
He had an aha moment.
He said, I'm not letting you go. I let Hayes go, and I've let others go. I'm not letting you go. So he did something that had never been done, not only in Illinois and Chicago, but across the country. Plaintiff lawyers of Phil's stature didn't have partners, didn't want partners. They were the Lone Ranger, if you will. And Phil did take me in. I asked for nothing, and he put my name on the door, which was great. I became a shareholder in the firm.
Yep.
And this was all very hard, I'm sure, for him to do.
Sure.
But he did it. And then others, it was like dominoes. Others said, wait, I better do the same thing. And they did. And that was a phenomenon across the country that hotshot plaintiff lawyers would all of a sudden start taking in younger partners.
A trend he started.
Right.
So Corboy and Demetrio begins in 1983.
It became, officially January 1st, 1983. You're right.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
We celebrated, we had a party in November of 82, but it started January 1st, 1983. And then over the years, we had great lawyers come and go. And eventually, as you well know, because you're now a young shareholder in this firm, I became aware that we don't want to lose the Gibbs of the world, the Ken Lums of the world, who's our managing partner.
Right.
And so, as far as the current times go, we have a corporate entity. We're a professional corporation with shareholders, and during the period of time before recent times, you becoming a shareholder, and Ken, Flip Corboy, Phil's son, has been my longtime partner, and he also is practicing law today as well. And we have a firm of, 15, 16 lawyers who are the best of the best as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed.
In the areas that we care about. We have historically had just an impeccable staff. Our staff has always been, Martha Fukami, by the way, when Jack left, she went with Jack. And
Phil lost her
too. Phil lost her. But over the years, we've been very fortunate in having most of our employees, they're long-term. 30 and 40 years. We have a great loyalty.
Incredible. The loyalty of the staff has been incredible.
And of course, the knowledge that they have obtained and maintained and have passed on is just the same as we lawyers have been passing on to younger lawyers. The staff is critical in a firm of our type.
Absolutely.
Because of all the rules and the regulations that need to be meticulously followed. So this firm then had its beginnings in 1952. It has thrived over the decades since then. I know personally, because of the lawyers who have been hand-selected for the most part by me, going forward, are going to carry on the traditions of Corboy and Demetrio.
Well, certainly you have selected and attracted talented lawyers and staff, and talent that wants to stay here and wants to be a part of the commitment to excellence, really, that this firm has demonstrated over the years. And I think that commitment to excellence endures and will endure because of mentorship. I really do believe, and I've told you this before in private, and now I'm telling you in public, that the mentorship that you have provided to a lawyer like myself is invaluable, absolutely invaluable. It makes me who I am today.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, who were your mentors, other than Corboy, obviously?
Well, I'll answer your question, but I want to share a quick story with you, because when I first got here, Corboy called me into his office, and he said, Mr. Dooley is on trial across the street. I want you to go watch him and learn. And I did. And I was not impressed with what I saw.
Interesting.
I know. And I came back and said to he was Mr. Corboy at the time, to me, I don't get it. And he looked at me and he said, preparation. He said, nobody is more prepared than James Dooley in a courtroom. Not the judge, not his opponents, not the witnesses. He is thoroughly prepared. He said, that's the secret to being a great trial lawyer. And so I I learned that lesson early on,
It's a good one to learn.
and have practiced it and preached it.
Right.
But also, when I first started, I had the benefit of becoming friends with Corboy's friends across the country. For instance, Bill Colson down in Florida, Miami.
Yeah.
Magnificent lawyer. And I read maybe 30 of his final arguments, and I absorbed that. The same with Bruce Walkup out in San Francisco. Ted Warshevsky in Wisconsin. A lawyer who never sought a high-profile personality, Lex Hawkins from Des Moines, Iowa. Magnificent lawyer. And the guys in Texas. Texas has been a great, great source of supplying the world terrific trial lawyers. Scotty Baldwin in Marshall, Texas, who went on to become president of AAJ.
Yep.
Nick Nichols. And countless others. Pat Maloney, who was Phil's best friend.
Sure.
From San Antonio. And I read everything, cross-examinations, opening statements, the jury selection, which is the hardest thing we do, in my view,
Yep.
and the most important. So
It seems so simple, but I think a lot of young lawyers miss what you're saying right now, which is just read
yeah,
and or watch.
yeah,
We have access to we're right across the street from the courtroom. We have access to trials, every day. And
Yeah.
young lawyers, when I was a young lawyer, I would just go over and watch
Yeah.
whoever it was, and just maybe you pick up something, maybe you pick up something you don't want to do.
right. So to answer your question completely, Paul Episcope was a lawyer here when I got here.
Yeah.
And he was a guy, when I was in law school, if Paul Episcope, I heard Paul Episcope was on trial, or Bill Maddox,
Sure.
who was a great trial lawyer from Kirkland and Ellis, and then went on and started his own practice and then became a judge. This is a man who grew up in Boys Town and became mayor of Boys Town. And then he went to Notre Dame, graduated. He was roommates with Phil Donahue.
No, I didn't know that.
He then went to Georgetown Law School. I mean, a magnificent story. And then he became our head of our law division, chief judge of our law division. But when he was on trial, I always went and watched him. So I considered, and he became a close friend. And so Dick Phelan, whose father was responsible for me going to law school in the first case, and Dick Phelan teaching me trial advocacy in law school. And then he went on, of course, to become not only a great lawyer, but he was county board president.
Right.
So I had, and aside from the courtroom, but a life mentor, I had two of them, Father Ted Hesberg and Judge Abe Marovitz, who was an institution here in Chicago. So mentors are all over my map.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they should be. And I tell lawyers, young and old, you can be older and have a mentor. Mentors are the key to developing to become the great lawyer
You're so right.
want to be.
You're so right. You touched on something that I don't know if it's changing or not, but in my view, it's a little different than it used to be, which is a camaraderie amongst the bar, and then a camaraderie between the bar and the bench. It seems like historically, you and Corboy and other lawyers always had great relationships with judges,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
Judges had great relationships with lawyers. I don't see that as much today. Do
Yeah.
you see that changing or
Well,
having changed?
It has changed. It's evolved. I can tell you that when I started in the 70s and 80s, for the most part, the bench and the bar socialized together. They worked on projects together. When I was president of the Chicago Bar Association, I worked on a paper that was presented to the Supreme Court advocating for the adoption of mandatory continuing legal education in Illinois. And I worked with judges, law professors, and we put together quite a product.
Yeah.
And we didn't get it done in 1993, but it became the law in Illinois soon after. But it was working together and socializing together. And then something called Gray Lord occurred.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when Gray Lord, which was corruption that went to the core of our legal profession, judges accepting bribes, lawyers giving bribes, then judges became skittish.
That makes sense.
They didn't want to be seen talking to, having lunch with Gibbs at a restaurant because people would think, oh, something's going on here. And so there was a separation, if you will, and we still haven't recovered from it. My view is we've tried, and we're going to continue to try. When we host parties, when we have bar association events, we always include judges. And they're starting to come more and more often and realizing that Gray Lord has come and gone, okay? For the most part, we have a very, very, well, we do. We have, our system is not corrupt.
No. No.
And this is both in the civil and the criminal end of things.
Boy, I would love to see that come back.
Yeah.
You know, where lawyers and judges.
It's up to you to make sure that happens.
I guess so, right? I guess so.
Yeah.
All right, so I threw a softball at you, an open-ended softball, but now I have a series of yes and no questions, okay?
Okay.
You've appeared on Good Morning America.
Yes.
The National Law Journal has named you as one of the top lawyers in the nation.
Yes.
Law Dragon has recognized you as one of the top leading lawyers in America every year since that publication's inception.
Yes.
Super Lawyers recognized you as the #1 overall lawyer in Illinois 6 years in a row.
Yes.
You've served as president of the Chicago Bar Association,
Yes.
the Illinois Trial Lawyers Association.
Yes.
You've joined a very prestigious group called the Inner Circle of Advocates.
Yes.
You've been invited to join virtually every prestigious attorney network association in the country, and in fact, the world.
Yes.
You've authored over 60 legal articles.
Yes.
You've lectured all over the country.
I have.
You've served on numerous civic boards and legal councils.
True.
You've received many distinguished service awards and professional achievement awards.
True.
You acquired the first 8-figure verdict, $12 million verdict ever in the state of Illinois.
True.
You followed that up with a $16 million verdict.
True.
You then followed that up with a $22 million verdict.
True.
In your career, you've obtained a $30 million verdict and a verdict in excess of $40 million.
A couple of those, yeah.
None of your verdicts have ever been overturned on appeal.
No.
In fact, you still have the largest verdict ever upheld by the Illinois Supreme Court.
True.
Through it all, what's your most proud accomplishment as a lawyer?
Well, I have to put at the top of the list representing multiple families from the 9/11 disaster. And that was a pro bono, not for fee, but that horrible, it just affected everybody profoundly. And so our little contribution, if you will, was representing these families. There was a fund that was set up by the government, led by Mr. Feinberg, Ken Feinberg, who administered the fund. And we represented families who had a loved one killed. And it gave me a great sense of pride in our country and in our profession, and I was thankful that I had the ability to do that.
Wow.
So that's always going to be number one for me. And it's interesting, your question, because what we just went through, that litany, all that's great. And representing people and families and doing so competently and acquiring for them full compensation, if you will. That's important. However, I can think of cases, again, pro bono, that have been as rewarding, if not more. For instance, we represented a couple, just a delightful couple, who adopted a child through their church, and a baby. And they then went on to have their own child, a daughter. And as their son aged and got older and bigger, he became quite violent. And he beat up his sister, his mother. And it was not good. And they came to me, what can you help us on adopt? Well, there hadn't been any law in Illinois on adopting.
Right.
So I ventured into an area that was not my forte. I learned everything I could learn about it. And it turned, we brought an action to on-adopt. And we learned that this church had all the medical records they had told the parents they didn't have at the time of adoption, that showed this child, this baby, was thrown up against the wall on multiple occasions by his natural father. And he suffered very serious brain damage. And this was not disclosed to them. This should have been disclosed to them. Parents who adopt children are entitled to full disclosure, if you will. And we prevailed.
Yeah.
We prevailed. It was a sad case for everybody all around.
I'd say
But
so.
yet, it was professionally rewarding. Or the case of the young naval veteran who became a quadriplegic during her service to the country. And afterwards, a family friend, a lawyer, if you can believe it, got her pregnant. They started a relationship, and she got pregnant, which is, in the world of quadriplegia, a big deal.
Right.
And the Shirley Ryan predecessor, the Rehabilitation Institute of Chicago, had a program to teach quadriplegic mothers how to take care of a baby and to be a mom in your, disabled state. This lawyer, this so-called boyfriend, brought a lawsuit against her, stating that you're a quadriplegic. You can't be an adequate mother. I want full custody of our child.
Wow.
And she came to me again out of my wheelhouse.
Right.
But I learned everything there was about domestic relations and the way children should be reared in this very unusual situation. And we prevailed. We showed that she's more than capable of being a loving, caring a mother and able to take care of the child. And she got full custody. So that was rewarding.
Yeah.
And then maybe, and this is recent, the most rewarding pro bono matter after 9/11 is I met a legend when I served on the Illinois Supreme Court Committee on Jury Instructions for 16 years or so. I worked with a lawyer who I just admired beyond description, and he was a legend in outlying counties. He didn't practice in Cook County, and at age 84, he joined a group of lawyers who he had trained. He was the Corboy, if you will, outside Cook County for training really great lawyers.
Uh-huh.
And they had a firm. There were 5 of them. And he became of counsel to the firm. No salary. He wanted a place to go every day and read about the law and to continue to mentor these lawyers. And they entered into an employment agreement. And part of the agreement was if he brings in a case of a contingent fee case, which is what we are, contingent fee lawyers,
Right.
He'll receive a third of the contingent fee.
Pretty standard in our industry.
Yes, it is. And so there it goes. At age now 91, and still sharp as can be,
Yeah.
he did bring in a very significant case to that law firm. And at age 95 or 96, he died. And I'm giving you a very short version of the case.
Sure.
But the case settled 7 months later. And instead of, as is the custom and practice in our industry, of giving his 1/3 fee to his estate,
Right.
they didn't. And his son, who's a very successful lawyer out in San Francisco, called me one day and said, Tom, I don't know you. My dad always told me, though, if I ever needed help, I should call you.
Wow. It's an honor.
That was an honor.
Yeah.
And, he told me the situation, and I said, of course I'll help you. I figured it'd be a phone call.
Right. Maybe a letter.
Maybe a letter, but I made a phone call.
Right.
Thinking, hey, guys, you forgot to do something here.
Right.
That turned into I think a 6-7 year litigation. We went up to the appellate court twice, both successfully, both times successfully. And then the case eventually amicably settled, which it should have occurred way back when. So that was satisfying. Again, that was pro bono, thinking, but I'm glad we did it. And this son, who was representing his 2 sisters as well, the estate, made a very significant, I got a letter one day from Chicago-Kent College of Law stating that this gentleman has made a very significant, substantial donation to the school, contribution to the school in your name.
Oh, neat.
So
Neat.
these are good people, right?
Neat.
So made me feel good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So through it all, all the accolades and accomplishments, it's the pro bono work that you've done.
I'd
that you're
have to
most
say
proud of.
I'd have to say that, yes.
Where's that come from? You taught me a word that I'd never heard before, mitzvah.
Well, I learned that word from my good Jewish friend Abe Mirovitz.
Yeah.
He taught me a lot of great things, Never hurt the name. Walk into a room with your self-respect and make sure you leave with it. Things like that.
I love it.
And definitely every day do a mitzvah. But no, I'd have to say I got that more from my parents.
Yeah, you're born with what I would call a servant's heart. You have that innate desire,
Yeah.
probably from the way you were raised,
Well,
to help people out.
yeah, that's what we
Right.
are here for.
I mean, you and I have seen people in our industry that they're looking for, a big splash and a big number and a big verdict, and then they ride off in the sunset. I'm speaking for you, but I think what's kept you motivated in the practice of law for 50 years is that servant's heart, that desire to just help people and to make the world a little bit better place.
Well, I hope you're right. I hope that's why I'm
right.
here.
I think I'm right.
Okay.
So what does keep you motivated, kind of as you sit here right now, about this firm and the people around it and the practice of law and our profession?
Well, the firm is in very good stead. It's being led. It's being led. I'm here. I'm mentoring. I'm still trying cases, but it's you guys who are the future, right?
Right.
So we have put together just a great group of lawyers. We just recently hired 2 lawyers from a very prestigious defense firm. One had 18 years experience at the firm, one 24 years experience. And
they fit in seamlessly.
They fit in seamlessly, and they have they know how to defend the cases we bring.
Right.
And it's a great benefit to our other lawyers.
Absolutely.
So the firm is intact, and our medical malpractice team, if you will, is, as far as I'm concerned, the best in the country. It's awesome.
Yep, I agree.
And medical malpractice litigation is very difficult, and we reject very few we accept very few cases. We reject them because they're hard to win. Doctors, healthcare providers win 85% of the time. Okay.
And expensive.
And they're very expensive.
Yeah.
And when I talk to doctor groups, as I do, I scold them. Why are you complaining about our system, our tort system, our jury system, when you benefit from it 85% of the time?
Right.
Oh, gee, I didn't think of that. I've done a lot of airplane crash litigation.
Right.
Starting with the 1979, May 1979 crash at O'Hare Field, which interestingly, that's when I really grew up as a lawyer. That plane, it was a DC-10. It had an engine on each wing and one on the tail. And 17 seconds into flight, one of the engines on the wing fell off. Just fell off. And then the flight ended in a horrible crash. And over 250, 60 people were killed.
Yeah.
And Max Wildman, Harold Allen, and Dixon at the time, a big defense firm, represented American Airlines. And Jack Berry, who was John Paul Stevens' partner, interestingly, represented McDonnell Douglas, the manufacturer of the plane, which since has been absorbed by another manufacturer. So my thinking was, and I was very familiar with product liability law. At that time, I was even teaching a course at Kent Law School on product liability law. I said to Mr. Berry, and he was Mr. Berry, you're it. Your engine's not supposed to fall off. And he said, young man, just you wait and see. And 60 depositions later, it was firmly established that the engine, which was attached to the wing by a pylon, it's called, that pylon had metallurgical cracks that should have been caught on inspection, maintenance, and wasn't. And the metallurgical cracks resulted in a failure 17 seconds into flight. And so everybody who thought it was the manufacturer's fault was wrong. American Airlines did not do proper maintenance.
Mr. Barry was right.
And they paid 75 cents on every dollar that was paid. So I learned not to jump to conclusions.
Yep.
That's the lesson to
Yep.
be learned.
Yep. Probably met a bunch of people during that case, right? I assume plaintiffs' lawyers
Oh.
from all over the country were involved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. F. Lee Bailey even was. He was
Oh, really?
a criminal lawyer, but he took on one of these cases. So the future of this place is rock solid. The profession itself, fascinating times
Yeah.
to be practicing as a lawyer. And I say to high schoolers and college kids, if you're thinking about the law profession, give it very serious consideration, because don't be scared away. I mean, every day there's a headline
Right?
that has to deal with the Constitution. Has it been violated? So what's occurring with universities, law firms, individuals, their rights. We need good quality lawyers to protect our citizens. And
More than ever. Yep.
And the Constitution has become more and more important in protecting those rights. And we have an obligation, those who serve in the legal profession, have a duty to ensure that they're not being abused, and that, our forefathers who had a vision, they're being protected too. And so I think the practice of law is alive and well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting with AI and everything else to see how it all unfolds. But
AI,
yeah.
if I may.
Yep. Yep.
And I don't know if I'm mentoring now or not.
Yeah.
But we use AI, but only recreational. We don't use AI for research. We don't use AI to write papers and briefs and legal memorandum. In the world of law, lawyers are being fined money,
Sanctioned.
civil
Yep.
contempt,
Yep. Yep.
because they're using AI to write briefs, and it turns out that the citations that they have in their submission don't exist.
Right.
The case doesn't exist. AI doesn't always get it right.
That's right.
But
That's
but
right.
I watched a 60-minute segment a couple weeks ago where really smart people were saying AI is going to solve cancer, the core cause of it,
Yep.
within 10 years.
Yep. Yep.
So there are many professions that are going to benefit from AI, including the legal profession, but not something that we lawyers should ever rely on at this early stage.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, it's been an amazing career and an amazing run, and you're still going. We still. I look forward to the next case I get to try with you, because it's such a thrill to be on trial with a master.
We have done that
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
successfully. We've also we've had a failure together that I
Yes.
don't mind talking about.
Yes. Yes.
I have no trouble talking about failing.
Right. Right.
It's part of life.
Right.
But this firm, and you and I led it, the litigation for the NFL concussion cases.
Yep. Yep.
We represented countless players, starting with Dave Durison's family. Dave Durison, at age 50, died of what's called CTE, which is a brain damage that is incurred by the repetitive hitting of the head and repetitive concussions. And it's something that football players have to deal with and live with. And there was a lawsuit that was filed initially by the estate of Mike Webster,
That's right.
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh Steeler, Iron Mike.
and he died from CTE. And lawsuits then across the country were filed for other players. We got involved late after the fact when all these cases were consolidated before one judge, Anita Brody in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, federal court.
Yep.
And so we eventually, we initially brought the Durison case here in Chicago, and it was shipped by our federal court to Anita Brody. And so when we got involved, it was already determined who the lead plaintiff lawyers were going to be for that litigation. And that case settled. I never believed it to be a class action lawsuit.
Right.
But the plaintiff's lead lawyer asked that it be a class action lawsuit, meaning all the cases have to be, settled at once together. And so we objected.
Yes, we did.
We objected strenuously. There was a open hearing for objectors like us, and the basis of the basis of the motion was to approve the $1 billion settlement the NFL made with all the players, and a request for $112 million in attorney's fees for the lead lawyer. And I believed, I went to Philadelphia with you to strenuously object. The courtroom was packed.
Yep.
There was a second courtroom packed with television. Every media, sports related in the world was there. And I pointed out that, Mrs. Durison was also there. And Judge Brody would not let her talk.
Right.
But she gave me 10 minutes. And I pointed out that this case was being settled for a amount of money that was inadequate to fairly compensate all of the NFL players who suffered serious injury.
Yep.
And illness, Parkinson's disease, every ailment you can think of that was acquired, sometimes post-retirement, like Dave Durison. Dave Durison retired, he was fine.
Right. Right.
And that's the nature of this disease, CTE. And he knew when he
Oh, yeah.
killed himself, he knew he had CTE. And he left notes to his family. Please get my brain to the good folks at Boston University who were studying the effects of NFL-related brain injuries, CTE.
Yep.
And I pointed out to Judge Brody that this case settled. Now, we're trial lawyers, okay? And the lead lawyer fancied himself as a trial lawyer. And he told us publicly he was very, very competent. And he had on his website, on the very day we were objecting, that CTE is the most serious illness as a result of playing football.
Correct.
That there is.
And he was right.
And he was correct. But nevertheless, he settled the case, and as part of the settlement there was to be no further compensation for families when there is death due to CTE of their loved one.
It made no sense.
He poof, made it disappear.
Yep.
And I pointed out to Judge Brody that's not right, and that there was nobody, no lawyer at the table who represented families who had been victims of death by CTE.
Right.
And I said this case settled without one deposition being taken, one interrogatory being answered, one piece of paper being exchanged. Yet the case settled when it was never determined, never discovered, as it should have been, what the NFL knew and when they knew it.
Right.
And what they did with that information.
Right.
Silence. Nothing. And I wasn't being facetious when I said the only lawyer in this courtroom entitled to $112 million is Brad Karp.
The lawyer for the NFL.
He was the lawyer for the NFL. Brilliant.
Yep. He got death with CTE eliminated for all time.
Well, he did. So that's a big disappointment.
Yeah.
And we failed. She approved the order, the settlement, the lawyer fees, which have gone up by tens of millions of dollars since then.
Right.
But maybe more disappointing to me is the subject of greed in our profession. I see a lot of greed.
No, that's kind of what I was talking about before.
I see, these are probably just pet peeves, but lawyer advertising that's distasteful.
Yep.
Slap your picture on a bus and off we go. Hire me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ambulance chasing that I just can't stand, even in high-profile airplane cases. There are lawyers, big names.
We've seen it.
They ambulance chase.
We've seen it.
That's wrong.
Sad but true.
There are lawyers who advertise on their website verdicts that they got, but don't tell the viewer that an appellate court took them away, and that verdict went bye-bye. So our firm, we have to ensure that our lawyers are at all times squeaky clean, ethical, loyal, and we try to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think you've instilled a loyalty amongst our lawyers. And I hope that I can continue that.
Well, you will.
I hope that I can continue that.
As Corboy taught me, osmosis works.
Well, I believe that.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
And I've been the beneficiary of that for many years at this place. But yeah, the people here, lawyers and staff, are very loyal. Yeah. And they're very loyal because I think they see that commitment to excellence.
Yeah.
So during your time as a lawyer, you've met many interesting characters, I'm sure, from clients to judges to fellow lawyers. What are some of the unique relationships that you've forged along the way and that you kind of never saw coming?
Well, one was pretty early on. Jim Croce was a very popular singer in the 70s, and he died in an airplane crash, and he was on a college junket, and 5 people were killed in that crash. And 4 of the cases, including Croce, settled. One did not. His assistant. The insurance coverage was only $175,000
Wow.
per seat. So that was the most we could get for this gentleman, and they wouldn't offer. They offered, I think, $20,000. So I said, "Fine, I'll go try it." It was down in Dallas federal court, and two defense lawyers, and the offer finally got up to $75,000. And the trial judge said, "Boy, you better take that money. You're not going to get that any more than that from a jury down here." I said, "No, Judge, I want the whole 175." So he was negative, if you will.
Yep.
Tried the case. The verdict was $350,000, which, by the way, we filed a bad faith case against the insurance company for not paying the $175,000, and we recovered every nickel. Ultimately, I got to argue in the Fifth Circuit down in New Orleans, which was a great
That's a thrill.
boost for a young lawyer.
Yeah.
But anyway, the trial judge became someone who I had a great deal of admiration for. His name's Patrick Higginbotham, and he was on George W.'s shortlist for the Supreme Court. That's how well thought of he was. So he was the first very interesting guy I came across. But over the years, Johnny Cochran became a very good friend. Johnny Cochran
Didn't see
and
that coming.
Yeah, I know. But we ended up representing the same client in a very important case. And we did a lot of things together, and I got to know him quite well. And then he became a member of the Inner Circle, which I belonged to as well. And that's so-called 100 top lawyers in the country, plaintiff lawyers. And delightful guy, funny guy.
Yeah.
And he took Phil and I out to breakfast one day, and he said, "I'm coming to Chicago." You know, his notoriety went off the charts after the O.J. case.
Sure.
Today, there are 40 Cochran law firms in 22 states.
Across the country. Yep.
In 22 states.
Yep.
Even though he's been dead for some time now. And he said, "I'm coming to Chicago, and I can't think of two guys I would rather practice law with than you two." And we listened, and he said, "Of course, the name of the firm's going to have to change." And with that, Corboy, who was chewing on some scrambled eggs at the time, blurted them all out all over the restaurant. And Johnny didn't skip a beat. He said, "Okay, I guess I need a different firm." Huh? And he did come to Chicago, and he did fine here. Jerry Spence,
Legend.
great trial lawyer from Wyoming. I got to know him when he was in Chicago trying a lengthy case, and we spent a lot of time together. I mean, just the superstars of trial work. Racehorse Haynes from Texas. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And so I was very lucky in meeting all of Corboy's fellow trial lawyers from across the country and doing seminars with them. And so, yeah, that was
Pretty neat.
That was very fortunate. But I will say this, the judges that I've met, especially in our own courthouse, have been a great experience for me, trying cases in front of Jerry Lerner, Irv Norman. I mean, these are names that the young lawyers around here don't even know.
Right.
But they were true judges. Tom Hogan, more recently.
Yes.
And then our appellate court judges, which have always been high caliber.
For sure. And
And our Supreme Court as well. So that's been great. Meeting doctors from all different specialties. It's been a joy. So it's a people business.
For sure. For sure. So what did you enjoy most about your time as president of the Chicago Bar Association?
Oh boy, a lot of things. It's only a year term. So the Chicago Bar Association for decades was led by Terry Murphy, who was the executive director extraordinaire.
For sure.
And he recently retired. But he was a genius at coming up with ideas. And one of his ideas, in conjunction with Judge Abe Mirovitz and myself, was to start a program to recognize organizations in our community, primarily in the inner city, who are dedicated to mentoring young kids, to give them alternatives to gangs, if you will, joining gangs. And
right.
So we started something called Lawyers Lend a Hand, whereby we would meet with these organizations that did mentoring. And also I wanted to get members of the Chicago Bar Association involved in mentoring themselves.
Sure.
And that took off more slowly than I had hoped it would. The organizations, we gave away year after year after year awards with I think it was a $10,000 stipend for what they were doing for the community. And then we would honor them at a dinner or luncheon.
Yeah.
And then what it's evolved to over the years, though, is now the Chicago Bar Association members themselves are doing the mentoring right at the Chicago Bar Association, where kids are bussed in for evening tutoring, mentoring. They go to sporting events, and these mentors, these members of the Chicago Bar Association, are to me angels.
Yeah.
Who are taking care of these kids, and now it's grown. It's a big deal, and every year we have a big fancy dancy dinner at the Four Seasons Hotel, and we honor somebody with the Abe Mirovitz Award, appropriately. And we then honor some member, mentor with a philanthropic award.
Uh-huh.
And last April we honored Mr. Warren.
Oh, yeah, Kevin Warren from the Bears, right?
From the Bears, and his wife.
Yeah.
They have a foundation, and they are big-time mentor initiative people. They really believe in it,
Yeah.
like we do.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy, by the way,
Yeah.
as is his wife and family. His whole family showed up.
Neat. Was that the Thomas A. Demetrio Award?
No,
Oh.
no.
What's the Thomas A. Demetrio Award?
The Thomas A. Demetrio Award was given to the top mentoring organization in our community.
Okay.
So we've steered away from that now. All right? Now we just honor our own members.
Got it.
So that was satisfying.
And it endures. I mean, it's still, like you said, it's still going today.
And the other thing I did, I hosted a TV show, and I interviewed.
See, if podcasts were around back in '92, you'd have dominated.
You're right. We didn't, but we had our own TV station, and I interviewed everybody from Mayor Daley to, at the time, Rodriguez was the commissioner of the police department. key politicians. Paul Simon,
Oh,
a
sure.
U.S. Senator.
With the bow
Jerry
tie.
Spence. Jerry Spence came in, and I interviewed him as well. So it was a very eclectic group. But you're right. It was a podcast before a podcast.
Yeah, we've got to unearth some of those.
And then, as I mentioned earlier, the CLE, mandatory CLE,
Yeah.
and the fact of the matter is, and I got this from judges primarily. There were a lot of lawyers who just had not been keeping up on the changes in the law,
Yeah.
and it's vital that we do. It's important that a client, whether they even are conscious of it or not, know when they hire a lawyer, regardless of the area, taxation, let's say, real estate, that lawyer is up to date on the current law.
State of the art. Yeah.
Just like you hope your doctor's up to date on the current state of medicine.
We sure hope so.
Right?
Right.
So in the world of professions, that's what you want. And we eventually got mandatory continuing legal education. So
That's
I'm,
one to be proud of.
Yep,
Yep. What else?
big time. Nothing. I mean, it's great. It's a real honor. The law license that's earned by passing the bar exam is sacred. And I am very, very lucky to have been a lawyer all these years, and I can't imagine a better profession, certainly for me.
It really is a noble profession.
It is.
I mean,
It is.
sitting here talking to you about your proudest moments in your profession, the ones that you put your head on the pillow at night and you feel good about what you did that day.
Yeah.
That's what matters, right? I mean, it's what matters in life, and it's probably what matters in the next life, if you believe that that's out there.
I firmly believe it. The older I get, I believe it more and more.
But, this series is called Masters of Trial Law, and I've just spent some time with the master, in my opinion. Thank you
Bill.
for all you've done for this profession, for me, and for this firm.
Pleasure.
With that, we'll see you next time. Remember to follow us on YouTube and or wherever you can find us. We'll see you with the next Masters of Trial Law at a later date.